tonight on Game Plan.
Saints coming off the edge. The ball is popped up in the air. Intercepted by Cam Jordan for the touchdown.
The Saints are back above 500 after a historically wild and wacky win over the Lions.
Listen, we're getting better. I think we've gotten better every week in certain ways.
Up next is the Green Bay team forced to adjust to life without Aaron Rodgers.
The quarterback room is exactly where it needs to be, okay?
As you understand, they got the best set of skill players we played thus far.
We're breaking down a matchup between two of the four longest tenured head coaches. Plus, how did Cam Jordan put in such a dominant performance against Detroit? The film doesn't lie, and it's all on Game Plan, starting right now.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.
Well, what do you know? The Saints are winners of 3 in a row and are now over 500 for the first time since December of 2013 and head to Green Bay as confident as ever. Welcome to Game Plan. With Juan Kincaid, I'm Sean Fazan.
And if they hope to put together their first 4-game winning streak since that same year, 2013, they'll have to win at historic Lambeau Field on Sunday. This team is playing its best football right now, Sean, and they'll need that to continue to beat the Packers.
Well, we're getting better. I think we've gotten better every week in certain ways. Obviously, we've got some momentum. We like the direction that we're going. We understand the things that have happened in these last 3 wins that have allowed us to win. You know, and I think when you taste that success, the light bulb comes on a little bit, and you begin to realize, okay, when we do this, it gives us a great chance to win. When we do this hinders our chances of winning. So we're just becoming a smarter team.
Our goal as a team isn't just to have a winning season. Our goal as a team is much higher than that. And certainly for guys like Cam or Mark or a handful of players, maybe Kenny, that have been here a little longer, really for all these guys. I mean, you set goals, and that's why we're playing and working and practicing, improving, you know, to get an opportunity to play in the postseason, and but we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Sean, this Packers team has been the talk of the entire NFL this week, not because of who'll be playing, but because of who won't be.
True, but Green Bay is more than just number 12. Aaron Rodgers and the Saints must be ready for anything.
Rodgers, end zone. Adams, what a throw! Touchdown!
Think Green Bay Packers, at least in 2017. Think one man, Aaron Rodgers, arguably the best player in football. Well, now he's out. His backup, Brett Hundley, is in, who's thrown all of 44 passes in his career. Still, the Saints defense knows now is not the time to take a player lightly.
You understand that Brett Hundley's been behind Aaron for the last 3 years, just like Aaron was behind Brett Favre, and you see how he turned out. You understand he's still a good quarterback. He just hasn't had the reps.
Hundley still has a vast array of weapons around him, including Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, and Jordy Nelson, who've combined for 12 touchdowns this season. They've also got tight end Martellus Bennett, who's pitched in with 22 catches of his own.
The best set of skill players I played, we're going to play this year. Well, maybe not the whole year, but thus far. Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson. The back is a converted receiver, so he's going to get out the backfield and he runs hard. Martellus Bennett, so they caused some problems.
Defensively, the Packers are opportunistic. They're tied for 4th in the league with 11 takeaways. Blake Martinez leads the team with 48 tackles. Clay Matthews and Nick Perry both lead the team with 2.5 sacks. And Clinton Dix has grown into one of the best safeties in all of football.
I mean, they rush the passer very well. The 2 big defensive tackles inside do a great job. The edge rushers do a great job. You know, they're so, they give you a wide array of defensive personnel. You know, whether it's you know, just their traditional base defense with their 3-4 structure, or you know, you got your nickel package, you got your dime packages, you get your penny packages where you just got DBs all over the field. They're all very versatile. They can cover, they can play, you know, deep, middle of the field. They have them playing at linebacker level. I mean, they do a lot of different things with their guys. So I'm sure they'll have a plan for us, and that's just something we'll have to adjust to as the game goes on.
Bottom line, this team has everything but their best player, and he's obviously a huge part of their success. But the Saints would be foolish to take the Packers lightly on Sunday.
Because when you think about the Saints' history, many times they've been burned just because they took a team lightly. But there's no chance they go down that road this time. But it's only human nature to think they're getting the Packers at the perfect time. No Aaron Rodgers means their chances of winning on Sunday went up. It's why the betting line flipped about 10 points in a day. Packers head coach Mike McCarthy understands fully the challenge that's now facing his team, going against a surging Saints offense without its team leader. But as coaches do, they move on and get their team to move on and rally around the next man up, which is Hundley.
Okay, I got 3 years invested in Brett Hundley, 2 years invested in Joe Callahan. The quarterback room is exactly where it needs to be, okay? We're fortunate to have a great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. We're committed to the path that we're on. We need to play better as a football team. And Brett Hundley, he'll be starting this week.
Of course, the question was asked to McCarthy if he planned on bringing Colin Kaepernick in for a trial. He didn't say no, but he was quick to say the next man up is currently in their quarterback room.
Now, could using Hundley actually be an advantage for Green Bay?
It could be, Sean, because there's not a lot of film on the guy. He's only thrown 44 passes, completing 21 of them, so most of his film is from the preseason. The Saints are hoping they can get a good feel for his tendencies in those games, but we'll see.
The tape don't lie. There's just not a whole lot of tape on Brett Hundley.
Right.
How does the Saints set up Cam Jordan for success? You won't want to miss the film study behind the NFC's Defensive Player of the Week next.
The Sands Film Breakdown is sponsored by the 2017 Nissan Titan. From Fox 8 Sports, you're watching Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan, with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.
Welcome back into Game Plan. You know, Juan, there are some NFL stadiums that players just love to play in more than others.
It's all about the history for these guys, and this weekend's trip, Sean, to Lambeau Field is not just about the game. The Saints will be stepping foot in a stadium where it feels like the game began, where some of the early greats laced them up, where players played when even the temperatures dipped below freezing. Lambeau Field, or Lambeau Field, holds so much history. The Saints will be stepping foot in a stadium where it feels like the game began, where some of the early greats laced them up, where players played even when the temps dipped below freezing. Lambeau Field holds so much history, and it's not lost on Drew Brees, who's played here many times before and always cherishes the next time.
I do appreciate that very much. There's certain places that there's just a little extra, and Lambeau is one of those places, like Arrowhead Stadium, you know, and there's a few others where, man, there's just so much tradition, so much history that goes back to really the start of what is our professional football game today. And you're standing on the field, you just visualize, you know, the Ice Bowl of 1967 and Vince Lombardi walking the sidelines and Bart Starr and, you know, Forrest Gregg and some of those other guys, and you just, man, it's pretty amazing to think of.
Cam Jordan's played at Lambeau Field twice. He's lost twice there, but he's been playing on a different level lately. In fact, Jordan has been the Saints' best and perhaps the NFL's most underrated defender over the last 5 years.
There's no doubt about that, Juan. For years, you could say he was the best player on a bad defense. Now, he's on an improving defense. And as the film proves, Jordan is better than ever.
Stafford in trouble, and he's going to be sacked by Cam Jordan.
The first thing that's become crystal clear with Cam Jordan is that defensive coordinator Dennis Allen doesn't want to limit him to just one spot on the field. In the first 2 quarters of Sunday's game against Detroit, he lined up in 5 different spots. He opened up on the right side of the line between the guard and tackle with Alex Okafor next to him, not opposite of him. He also lined up in his familiar spot on the left side edge. He also played the right side edge. Then he stood up and played outside linebacker, first on the left side and then on the right side. And finally, he played nose tackle over the center. From a playmaking standpoint, Jordan has elevated his game in 2017, and it was on full display Sunday. Early on in the first quarter, Jordan fought off the block of Darren Fells to assist on the tackle. Later in the fourth quarter, Jordan got through 3 different blockers to completely disrupt the Amir Abdullah run. He makes the tackle after reeling Abdullah back by the string of his jersey. Both of his sacks came while playing on the left side edge, and both were sheer power. On the first one, Jordan pushed Emmett Cleary straight back, where Stafford barely had a chance to set his feet before Cleary backed into him. His second sack was even quicker, more powerful, and even more impressive. From the left side edge again, Jordan pushed Brian Mahalik straight back into Stafford, who didn't stand a chance. Jordan registered the sack by not even touching the quarterback. That would have been a complete day in and of itself. But Jordan had more magic on Sunday. With the Saints up only 7 and Detroit with the ball, he slammed shut any hopes of the biggest comeback in NFL history with a remarkable pick six. Playing the right side between the guard and the tackle, Jordan ran a stunt and curled behind David Onyemata. And as they did all game long, Jordan perfectly timed Stafford's throw, got his hands up, and tipped the pass, but also had the presence of mind to find the ball and score the touchdown.
Now, Jordan is first on the Saints in sacks, second in passes defensed, and third in total tackles. He's having a career year right before our very eyes.
He certainly is, no doubt, having a Pro Bowl season. Hopefully his first pick six gets him even more recognition, but we shall see about that. Still to come, can Brett Hundley's lack of experience actually work in the Packers' favor when game planning? Herbie Teope joins us in studio to discuss that and more when Game Plan rolls on.
From Fox 8 Sports, you're watching Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan, with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.
Nice to have with us once again Herbie Teope from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Got a very confident football team right now. Won 3 games in a row. What do you think has been the key to that 3-game win streak?
Not only do you have a confident football team, I think you also have confident media members right now. When you look at this team, because you're starting to see complementary football. The offense doesn't have to do everything. The defense, my goodness, these last 3 games has really become one of the league's best defensive units. They're getting after the quarterback. They're getting turnovers. And special teams, even though they took a step back last week, they've also been pretty solid. So you're looking at complementary football.
Complementary football, confidence, as you say. And look, there's some new DNA in this locker room right now. It wasn't around the last 3 years. And, you know, when things started to kind of snowball earlier in the season, it was fresh blood. They never panicked, and they got confident. They had a good matchup against Carolina, and then played 3 straight games, and obviously the big win last week against Detroit. I just think overall it's a confident football team that's believing in themselves. As you said, the defense has depth, and they even have some injuries, but they have depth right now. It really showed up against Detroit, and I think you add all those factors in, you have a confident football team. That's why they're 3-2.
Talk about a confident football team, but then you got to pump the brakes a little bit because you're going into Green Bay. You know they don't have Aaron Rodgers because of the injury, maybe out for the year. Brett Hundley, you don't know a lot about this guy. Came in the league in 2015, has thrown the ball, 44 times, completed almost half of those. That may be the scary part, is that there's not a lot of film on this guy, so the Saints have to approach with caution.
Absolutely. And, you know, the precedent has been there for a backup quarterback to come in and really kind of win a game out of nowhere. And I think if the Saints, it wouldn't surprise me at all. We said this in our show a couple days ago. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Sean Payton was really hard on his team this week, because, look, it's a young team. They've got some wins. Feeling confident, maybe get a little too relaxed. You're playing a backup quarterback, and boom, you get smacked in the mouth. Maybe this is the week Sean Payton kind of presses them a little bit to stay focused. I'll say this, the locker room is saying the right thing, but it can be a challenge when you can't prepare for them. Remember, 2012 against the San Francisco 49ers, they played Colin Kaepernick. It was his second start. That was the biggest challenge. Steve Spagnuolo at the time told us, is that there wasn't a lot of film on this guy, and all of a sudden he beat the Saints that day. So just think about that.
Kenny Vaccaro talked about it and said, you know what, once upon a time Aaron Rodgers was the guy stepping in for Brett Favre. That's why you have to be cautious. No one knew Aaron Rodgers back then.
Yeah, but this guy right here, Brett Hundley, the Saints do know him because they looked at him entering the draft in 2015. And Sean Payton told us this Wednesday morning in the teleconference, they looked at his preseason tape. They know what he had coming out of college. Not only that, you got players here who are well aware of him. Chris Banjo, who spent some time up there in Green Bay. I'm sure he's helping the team prepare for this guy. He came in the game last week, and Aaron Rodgers was hurt, threw 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and was sacked 4 times. And that's not a good recipe when you're facing a hot Saints defense like this right now. Should they be cautious of him? Absolutely. But they're not really going to overlook this guy.
Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram both played very well. Adrian Peterson had a 100-plus yard game over in Arizona. So we're talking about a trade that actually worked out for both sides.
Win-win. As we said, this is the definition of a win-win. Saints have the best rushing output of the season. Adrian Peterson gets 26 carries, 100-plus yards, 2 touchdowns.
Offensive player of the week.
He was never going to get that here, and that's what he needs to be successful. If you're not going to give Adrian Peterson that, he's not really worth it as an asset to your team. He's never going to get that here. He's got that in Arizona. The Saints, as I said, the offense did not miss a beat. In particular, their rushing offense was better this past week without him.
Basically, the Saints are a better football team running the ball without Peterson.
Absolutely, and I think Sean hits the nail on the head here, because without Adrian Peterson there, now you don't have to worry about trying to get this guy carries. Your top 2 guns, clearly Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, and almost 200 yards rushing combined last week against the Detroit Lions. Gotta love that leaping ability of Alvin Kamara, too. Yeah, without Peterson there, this running game will hum the rest of the way.
So when you look at this cornerback situation, I can't believe I'm saying this, they've got a good problem they're about to have with Delvin Breaux eventually coming off of IR in week number 9. So the question is, when you've got 2 players that are playing really well on the corners right now, how do you disrupt that magic that they have going right now by bringing Delvin Breaux in, or does he have to earn his way back?
You don't disrupt it. You make him earn his way back. And look, if you'd have asked me that question after week 2, I'd have said it's a no-brainer. Delvin Breaux comes back, reinserts in the starting lineup, and then you readjust. But think of this, Juan. They haven't even played 3 cornerbacks in a game despite all the multiple wide receiver sets they've faced. The 3rd corner has been Kenny Vaccaro. So P.J. Williams hasn't played. Sterling Moore hasn't played. Delvin Breaux has been injured. So he's got to get back healthy, and he's got to somehow work his way back into the mix. Look, if he's good enough to play and he's better than King Crawley, they're going to play him. But right now, you'd have to say the chemistry between Lattimore and Crawley and the entire secondary, it's going too good right now. You cannot play with that right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Sean here. You know, Sean hit the nail on the head again earlier. The guy just seems to be nailing it today. When he mentioned the defense has depth, and that is absolutely correct, because you don't need to rush Delvin Breaux back. Look, he's missed a lot of playing time, and there's a lot of difference between getting conditioned and getting into shape compared to what you're going to be doing on the football field. The Saints do not need to rush this guy back, and when he does come back, you have to make him earn that starting position. Do not mess with the chemistry that you have going right now.
You think that Sean Payton would understand it. And by the way, that question about the cornerback situation with Delvin Breaux and the other guys was from Mark and Ponchatoula from our Final Play app. He submitted the question there. We have another question. This one from Ralph in Lockport. He wants to know why haven't the defensive linemen and linebackers been knocking down passes in the previous games? They must have had 10 or 12 against Detroit. Actually, if you include the PBUs, it was 16, but who's counting? But it's a good question. Why haven't they been able to do this in previous games?
You know, I'm not in that meeting room, but I would
Come on, Herbie, that's why we have you here.
I would suspect they looked at something on the tape and said, you know what, there's something going on right now with Matthew Stafford's release. Jump as soon as you see him getting ready to pass the ball. They actually had 12 knockdown passes at the line of scrimmage. As Juan said, 16 total pass breakups on the game. They were keyed in on Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I don't know if it was something with Matt Stafford's release or maybe something with the Detroit offensive line, if they were kind of tipping when the way they were blocking, that the pass was getting off. But they were there. It was too much for it to be a coincidence. I mean, they knew to get their hands up very quickly, and it worked. And I mean, look, Cam Jordan had one. I think Rankins had one. Trey Hendrickson had 2. Von Bell. I mean, all these guys had him at the line of scrimmage. A.J. Klein had another one. It was too many to be a coincidence. So let's hope it could happen. But look, not every quarterback is Matt Stafford and has that release point. So whatever they found on tape against Stafford, hopefully they find it this week against Huntley.
No doubt. And all the coaches will say, if you can't get to the quarterback, what do? Get your hands up when he's throwing the ball. Herbie Teope from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
When we come back, how did the Saints score 52 points and yet leave the fantasy owners underwhelmed? Chris Hagan takes a look at the odd outcomes we saw and what it means going forward.
Keys to the Game is sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer. From Fox 8 Sports, you're watching Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer. Built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.
How about a key to the game? We call this one the Ingram Indicator. The last Saints-Packers game saw the 7th-year back put up a career-high 172 yards on 24 carries, including a touchdown. In fact, his 6 best rushing games have all come in winning efforts. On the flip side, when he gets 10-plus carries but is held under 45 yards, the Saints are 0-7. Give the guy the ball. The Ingram indicator: big game, win. Bad game, loss.
Seems pretty simple.
It is pretty simple. The Saints' 52-38 win over Detroit certainly helped them in the NFC South standings, but it probably didn't contribute much to your fantasy football roster.
No doubt about that, Juan. Seems crazy to say, but it's true, especially from an offensive standpoint. Chris Hagan explains in this week's Extra Point.
Despite topping 50 points last week against the Lions, the Saints offense did not have one of their better days. Mark Ingram was the lone bright spot when it came to real fantasy football production. That said, look for them to bounce back against the Packers this week, even on the road. Green Bay has given up at least 20 points in all but 2 games against the struggling offense of the Seahawks and hapless Bears. Once again, Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara should be in your starting lineups. The Packers have allowed running backs to find the end zone either on the ground or through the air in their last 5 straight games, with both Kamara and Ingram proving to be effective on pass and rundowns. They're bound to be productive. At receiver, I'd call the low output from Willie Snead and Michael Thomas a rarity. The lack of targets likely stemmed from the lockdown coverage of Lions corner Darius Slay. The Packers aren't as threatening in their secondary, and Thomas should be back on his high reception game. However, as good as Ted Ginn Jr. was against Detroit, I'm not sure I'd bank on a duplicate performance and would avoid starting him even if you have a receiver on bye. I'd prefer a pickup like Cardinals wideout John Brown with their offense on the mend. Speaking of which, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention former Saint Adrian Peterson and his breakout game in Arizona of 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Definitely start him going forward. As for the Packers, you probably don't have better options than Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams, the best touchdown-catching duo in the league, but just know that they now have a ceiling without Aaron Rodgers putting the ball on the money. The same goes for running backs Ty Montgomery and Aaron Jones. Without Rodgers, the fantasy football oil well that is the Green Bay Packers could quickly dry up. Reporting for Game Plan, I'm Chris Hagan.
Our coverage certainly doesn't stop here. Lots more on Fox 8 News Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday it's the game day routine. You know and you love it. Fox 8 Live Tailgate begins a day full of football on our air, including the Saints kicking off at high noon. Our reports begin on Fox 8 News at 9, leading up to the final play at 10:30.
And be sure to tune in for Fox 8 Football Friday at 10:35 as Chris Hagan and I take you around the state for all the great prep action here in Louisiana. Until then, thank you for watching Game Plan, and thanks to everyone here at Fox 8 for their contributions. Our next newscast is bright and early, 4:30 in the morning. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough, and the 2017 Nissan Titan with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty. Nissan Titan, take on any job.